2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, everybody, and it is a good evening. The sun has risen, the birds are singing. This is the happiest I've felt all year, and I've got to say, and all this, and we lost. Brad, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Chris. It is. It's a little bit bittersweet, in a sense, but it's one of them that gives us false hope, renewed optimism. However you are as a person, depends what it's going to be. But it's weird to say that we're here after the defeat, and we're not. Well, I think 48 hours ago, Chris would have been coming on here going, "What?"
Yeah, exactly. We still will. We still will.
Yeah, we still will. But it gives us renewed hope, if that's the correct saying to use for this.
Yeah, I made a few notes over the weekend. That's how it's kind of ended up. A little bit chaotic. I had a show booked in that said, because there was a meeting, is he going to go and all that. So yeah, I mean, we're going to not concentrate too much. I want to say, coming up at 9 o'clock tonight, we have got a show with Clibbo as why Marti had to go. So we'll be looking into more details there. And then tomorrow at 7, what and who next for Leicester? Which is interesting. I think we all know, obviously, Andy King's got the job temporarily, and I would hope that we've got a list, because other clubs where they sack somebody, within a couple of days somebody's appointed. But just very quickly, do you give it to Andy King till the end of the season, which gives us 3 or 4 months to find the right person? 10 managers we've had. I think this was the 9th manager or the 10th manager in 10 years that we've sacked since we won the Premier League.
Yeah, I think it was something like that, along that lines. It has been very consistent of this ownership, though. Apart from really Brendan Rodgers, who's probably the longest staying manager under this ownership, we have known to sack managers. I think it's 9 managers because one of them sackings is Pearson, because he was twice, but it has been 10 sackings and 9 managers because Pearson did a second stint. But yeah, Chris, I know it sounds a bit obvious and it goes off that Man United fan quote, don't it? Give it Giggsy to end the season. But I think right now, considering the turmoil inside the club, the turmoil around the finances, the strange interview that Top gave to Owen Palmer before actually announcing his sacking 6 hours later. I don't know if you've seen that doing the rounds. Yeah. But financially, Chris, the best option is, as long as you look at who Andy King's worked underneath. Title winner Claudio Ranieri. He was in and around there, under some good management. He's worked with some good players. He's had a lot of obviously he's a club legend, and he was still and I know I'm probably clutching and holding on to the thinnest of thin straws here, but he was in that dressing room when that brotherhood was born and developed, Chris. So if anyone knows how to get the motivation levels back up, I believe it's Andy King. And don't just go jump into the next manager. I don't actually like it, and I think it's a bit snidey when, and I know it's happened before, Chris, with other clubs, where they sack a manager and then sometimes even an hour later, the same day, they announce their new manager. So that tells me you made that decision regardless of the last 2, 3, 4 results even. So,
but shouldn't that have happened anyway? Because look, one match did not get Marti sacked, and I have to apologise to everybody because I put this up during the post match on the watch along on the match reaction bit, and I actually got it right, but I got the timing wrong. I apologise for that. But yeah, what I'm saying is, if you're a business and you are looking at the performance of your manager over a length of time, I mean, if that manager suddenly, pinches, a couple of £1,000, then, you don't think about it. But, if you're looking at the performance, you're thinking, is this the man? And you are starting as a business to collate in your mind, do we need to replace him? And
yeah.
so they should have already had have a short list in mind. They won't, because this is Leicester.
No, they won't. And also, we know from the Ruud van Nistelrooy debacle that they were financially restricted in sacking a manager. And we actually did say, Chris, for a couple of weeks when things were turned once again in negative terms, that maybe Marti has the safest job in the world because Leicester can't financially get rid of him. Thankfully, it's not the case because he's gone. This is where Leicester now need to dig in their heels. At the end of the day, like I said, yes, he's got no managerial experience to a degree as Andy King, but I'll take your mind back to August, Chris. We played 5 pre-season friendlies before Fiorentina, I think, which is the only game Marti got, to be in fairness, to see anything of his players that he was inhabiting, and even that was probably a cup of coffee in the box watching sort of game for him.
Yeah.
Andy King and the backroom staff, the sports scientists, took that pre-season, and the lads looked happy. The lads looked upbeat, and they even did something very unique, Chris, didn't they? They played a 180-minute pre-season game against, I believe it was our sister club, the Belgian ones. And that was unique. No other club did that. And I think it might not have been Andy King, it might have been one of the sports scientists, but they did an interview after that game asking them why they did that and what it was about. And they said, we want to break down our squad's fitness into 4 quarters instead of 2 45 minutes half, get their fitness levels up quicker, build them up stronger. So we give them 60 minutes each group, if you will, each different 11 players. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant because the curse of the training ground seemed to be lifted. And then since the day this manager's come back in and training went back to the old way, injuries, Chris, have also crept into it. So I'm even more backing Andy King. Only off that, granted, but it just looked better than where we have and where we've ended up.
Well, we'll talk more, like I say, at 9 o'clock about the actual sacking itself. But look, he's gone there, Alan Sugar, doing his famous "You're fired." And if we all pay by this comic and pay 50p, we might be able to afford a new manager. Now, you spoke to a friend of mine for the preview. And neither of you were particularly over-optimistic, although you did kind of dig yourself a hole by saying he's probably where he expected to be. And that hole just kept getting bigger and bigger.
By the end of it.
Oh, yeah, I was out there thinking, like, shut up, Brad, shut up. I can't remember. I mean, what predictions were you going for? There's the final score.
Well, see, I initially had it down as like a 1-1 draw, but he went 1-0 Oxford, but he did have the assumption that Leicester probably might sneak it. He had the edgings of the wins for Leicester, but he did go back his heart and go 1-0 Oxford, and he was generous because honestly, we're lucky we got the one. I'll be honest with you. I ended up then stupidly listening to a guy who told me that his team can't score goals but can keep them out net, and went 2-0 Leicester. And it turns out they can score goals, the lying little fucker of a friend of yours. Some friends you haven't, but they can concede them as well. So, double wrong. I was framed, I was robbed. But,
sorry, mate.
That's all right. It's just pick your friends wisely, Chris. Come on. But no, to answer you, Chris, I think maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but if you was to ask every single Leicester fan in the world, who was going to win this game, they can't pick a draw. I reckon 75% would have gone for an Oxford win, given the turmoil and how it felt. I mean, I've just changed my prediction on the predictor on the basis of this sacking, Chris. I went through Leicester's LCFC do a predictors league. It's just a Leicester game. I won't go too much into it. I'm doing really well.
I know the one you mean. Yes. Yeah.
After this game, I normally do it after the game because I seem to be doing really well doing it in spur of the moment. I predicted 3-1 Charlton. Everything in favour of Charlton. I've now completely reversed it because Andy King's in charge and not Marti Cifuentes. I've gone 3-1 Leicester. So it'll be interesting to see how that backfires for me on that.
They keep sending me reminders going, you've still got time to enter. And I'm like, I don't want to, because it hurts me to predict against my own team.
If you want a reason to stave off it, first prize is 2 free season tickets next season. So at this point with Marti, before this happened, I was like, I don't want to come first. Just give me second place.
No, I get that. I get that totally. Why would you? It's well, I don't know. You look at that and you go, really? But did you manage to sort of actually, I know you were possibly working, did you manage to watch the match at all?
Yeah, I did. Unfortunately, I managed to watch it. I was actually off that day, but I was over at Jess's, so we watched it on my perfectly legitimate Fire Stick.
Yes.
So watched it on that, and we wish we hadn't.
I know, and I'm just trying to actually get the video up here, but it's not working at the moment.
Potential YouTube strike. Don't do it.
Did you have a feeling that this is this could have been his last game?
Yeah, this was the perfect written game. There was only literally one other team that we could have been playing at the weekend and lost to, and it would have been the final nail in the coffin, and that was Sheffield Wednesday. Because other teams in that situation are improving drastically. I mean, I know they're playing tonight, but maybe Top was nudged in the decision making by going, someone went to him, look what Norwich did. Norwich got rid of their manager, replaced him with a guy that the players kept saying they really liked and they're letting him down, but blah, blah, nothing changed. They got a new guy in and now they're flying up the table against a team they've actually already beat this season in Coventry. So, maybe that's something where someone went, look, I know we want to back him, but it's worth cutting our losses right now than it is sticking with him for another 3-4 months because this could go horribly wrong. Let's get points on the board, please, and get someone in who's going to do that. So this was the game and it planned out that way, Chris, sadly. It did. Yeah.
No, I get that. And when you saw him, well, we'll look at the team in a second. I very quickly, I did a thing on the last show where there was a mask being pulled off Marti, and it was Top underneath. It did seem to be like deja vu, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, and it was so. Do you know what was the most baffling thing about it was, Chris, is he literally gave himself the opportunity over these last 2 to 3 games to actually go and say, I've tried it my way. I'm allowed to try it my way because I thought it'd be good enough. with the squad and everything that's going on at the moment, and some players either not wanting to play for us or leaving us indefinitely, like Faze and Winks. I realised my left back's about as much use as chocolate in the sun. I'm going to change formations. And he just didn't, Chris. And that was it. Once I saw Ben Nelson at left back, I was like, how bad's our left backs?
Well, I get what you're saying, but I kind of understand that one decision because he'd done that in the previous game because we'd all been screaming for Thomas to be dropped.
Yeah, but don't play left back then. Just don't play.
We haven't got any other. The other left back is also injured. And not a lot better. And if you're saying Aluko, which a lot of people are saying, yes, he can play at left back, but for me, I would have had him in at right back anyway because I don't think Pereira's up to it. And Nelson had done all right in the last game, and I can remember saying, "Do you know what? Sometimes you fall, you find these things purely by accident. You put a plan hit." And Nelson did a hell of a lot better in the last game than Thomas ever did. So I kind of get him sticking with that. And the guy that's coming back in to replace him in the back two was Vestergaard. And he's not exactly, he's probably our best defender and has got some experience. Like I say, get rid of Pierre and put Aluko in. So that's the one I kind of did understand. But shall we have a look at the match itself? And I know this is painful, but we can always think of this as an e-card to Marti. Goodbye, Marti. Oops, no, I can't. I will in a second. That was almost smooth.
But 9, isn't he? He's feigning. Oh, look, he's gone over again. He's trying a bit of kidology to keep the referee's got an eye on it.
Put Harris long in towards the near post. It's picked on by an Oxford body, and it's tapped home at the far post. Wheeling away in celebration goes Sam Long. Oxford United on the score sheet. It's the first goal of the Bloomfield era, and it's just what Marti Cifuentes was hoping to avoid.
Marti Cifuentes will be absolutely livid conceding that goal. I mean, should have.
Brad, that was after 4 minutes.
Yes, it was. Sorry, I was having a cry, so I just wanted
No,
to...
No. It was after 4 minutes, that one. And hi, everybody in the chat, by the way. I'm so sorry. Not said hi. Reese has just joined as well. Hi, Reese. End up with conceding goals so much. And that purely, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, was down to Salarchik. Because, and you can maybe deflect some of the blame because he's being told to do it, but he played it out, as he normally does, to a defender. It got us into trouble. We had a throw-in. We couldn't deal with it. Went out for another throw-in, and it ended up being in the goal. If he hadn't fucking tried to play it out from the back, we wouldn't have been... Well, I don't think we'd have... Well, we wouldn't have conceded that goal.
We probably wouldn't have. You're right. We wouldn't have conceded that goal. But also, I flipped that back. No, it's Marty's fault. He was told to play.
It's not totally his fault, I'm saying.
Yeah. It's him and Marty taking the blame because this guy cannot play it out the back. I've never seen someone look so nervous when a ball's coming towards him and rushed. When a player's like 30 yards away from him and starts edging into a sprint, he gets nervous. I'm surprised he doesn't have a pair of brown shorts. But my second point is, Chris, Luke Thomas, that's how you actually want to be throwing in a ball into the box. Because you can't beat the 6-yard box first man. He looped it in there. That's what Delap did. That's where the trend came from. You loop it in, get a bit of trajectory on it, and then it drops down like it did. Now, there was arguments whether the goal was onside and in the Premier League would it have stood. Maybe, maybe not. That's besides the point. That ball was just dangerous because it dropped on a sixpence onto the area where 3 Oxford players were surrounding our defence. They won the ball, which, when we've got a 6'8" lamppost and a fairly tall Ben Nelson as well, is very, very disturbing to know that they got outlet for it. I mean, Kevin, either that or, I don't know, maybe just scrap it because another thing that we'll get onto in a bit. Crossing into a box when only one person's in there. What's the point? But that goal, Chris, was avoidable from right on the training ground pitch to right up when it happened.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, they say that they play out from the back because it draws the opposition onto you, and then you can, move it upfield. But we never get to that point. We draw the opposition, go, we know what they're doing. Come in, they just send one person up. And Sir Archie always seems to like to pass it to the one player that's got an opposition player marking him, and then we're into all sorts of trouble. That was the first goal. Here we go. This was the second goal.
Hitting it first time, possibly. Confidence was high. May well have is a problem.
But Harris, oh dear. They're in behind here, Oxford. All the way through goes Harris, round the goalkeeper. And Oxford double their lead. Just when Leicester were ramping up the pressure, just after they'd thrown on their attacking reinforcements. A quick counter-attacking move. And Oxford go further in front.
I have to say, that was a concern of mine, not to concede in that manner, but...
Now, that's how you do a counter-attack. But I am concerned that we are doing that when none of our defenders are overly quick. But even if you've got a quick defender, they've got the advantage because they're setting off straight away. Leave Vestergaard at the back so he can do that. So he can just stand there and go, all right, you're going to come on to me like this. I'm going to be here. And 9 times out of 10, he would have taken the ball off him.
Yeah, he would have. You lose an aerial threat in the box, but there's many other players you could have put in there. Hamza Chowdhury would have taken a very lucky yellow card going in because he'd have waited for someone to get back before he made the tackle. But stick him on halfway line because he's a short bloke, in all fairness, compared to what we have.
But not even on the halfway line. Stick him between the box and the halfway line to stop that sort of thing happening.
You know what, Chris? I was watching it. And I had my glasses on so I could see clearly, and I had to take them off, and I had to clean them and watch the replay to make sure I hadn't accidentally knocked the remote and put on Leicester City 2015-2016 because that goal was Leicester-esque. I know we scored not in that so much a manner of straight through on goal, but we countered attack like that. We used to be that time. I mean, Kevin, nail on the head. Mahrez, Kante, Vardy, kings of the counter-attack. That's what we used to do to our position. The shoe was firmly on the other foot in that goal. And I said there kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I said to Jess when that went in, I was like, well, hold on, Oxford, that's probably got him the sack. Hold on, Oxford, come on, Oxford, because this can't get any worse. Please don't fucking come back and draw this 2-2 because he'll keep his job. So, I was done at that point. That's when I was fully done.
I do know what you mean, indeed. And I just realised that I've not updated most of this. So should we have a look? I mean, look, they say, here's an idea, right? And apparently they don't do any of this. But when you practice, I would have thought there would have been training 11 versus 11. But it's always our own 11 who are just as shit as the other 11. To my saying, get somebody like Loughborough in or Shepshed, some of these local teams, and give them, say, look, turn up for a 90-minute game on a Wednesday evening or whatever. We'll give you, your expenses and what have you, and give us a proper opposition to play against. Don't go in and don't damage, injure any of our players, but just give them be there, and actually sort of give us a proper opposition.
Yeah, I mean, you say don't go in there hurting our players. No, go in there and hurt them. Because otherwise, you might as well play shadow ball. You might as well play.
But you know what I mean. There, you don't want any of them injured and out, do you?
No, I know. All right, don't go in there with leg breaker tackles, but come on, get all to them, put the same pressure on them that these opposition do, and maybe they'll learn. Or here's a genius idea: look at your squad, look at what you got available, play the football style and the way that suits them the best, and not the way that you think's the best. Because the better managers look at what they've got and work it. That's exactly what won us the title. That's exactly what got us promoted 2 seasons ago back to the Premier League. Because for all those that actually moan about Enzo's football, I tell you what, for the majority of matches, it was fucking electric. Yeah, it was sideways and backwards. You can't always go forwards, people. I'm sorry, whether you like it or not, that was it. But you know what made me laugh the most, Chris? And it did come with a little bit of a good old chuckle, as if you go, huh, there we go, too little, too late. We were 2-0 down with 10 minutes to go, and he threw 4 attacking players on. Maybe, Marty, just maybe, had you gone for like a 4-2-1-3 and played attacking football and played like that for the majority of the thing, we wouldn't even be discussing this as a defeat or you not being here anymore. I'm just saying, Chris. I'm just saying, why take the last 10 minutes of his managerial career at Leicester to finally, the penny to finally drop?
Occasionally, he got the substitute spot on. It was very, very rare, though. And when you look at him when he played Sheffield United in the first game, at half-time, he changed the system, he changed the players, and suddenly in the second half, we came out and we played really, really well. And he came out and said, that's how I want my team to play. But he didn't want to pick that team to go straight on. And funny enough, when we came up against Sheffield United in the second game, and they played the same system, which was basically 4-4-2, what happened? We played 4-2-3-1 again, and we lost 3-1. Who knew? Well, look, there was some consolation at the end. We probably celebrated this almost as much as we celebrated the draw against Wrexham. But here we go.
From the corner. Vestergaard with his back to goal, lays it off to Luke Thomas, maybe Fatawu, can open it up, Fatawu reduces the deficit. A glimmer of hope in the closing stages. It was a bit of a scrappy goal, but Leicester won't care. Abdul Fatawu gets them on the scoreboard, and maybe, just maybe, the comeback is on.
No, it's not. Interesting who got the assist for that goal.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
I know. Just being facetious, Mr. Brad. Just being facetious.
No, if you ask me, with the names crossing off, it was probably Silko Thomas that got the assist, not me.
We hope the L could drop off at the back. But I get them not celebrating that because there's still time to go, and you want to get the ball on the centre spot and kick off. We didn't celebrate against Wrexham when that basically was a point we'd got from losing. When we scored against Wrexham, and we didn't even celebrate it at all. The fans didn't celebrate. It's just the whole malaise about the whole club at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it told you that the atmosphere was in the bin because Leicester just felt like, here we go again. We had a couple of good wins against Ipswich and Derby. Now we're going to go and stink the joint out for the games. I do have one thought that just crossed my mind quickly, Chris.
Oh my God, hang on, everybody.
I've had a brainwave or a fart, maybe. So you guys decide, is this a brainwave or a brain fart? You mentioned earlier about Cifuentes used to change it up, and then all of a sudden it seemed like for no apparent reason he stopped doing it, and he stopped changing formations and players when it was going wrong, and then started making subs way too late. Steve Cooper started the exact same thing and started doing the exact same way. I'm just going to throw this out, Chris. Maybe you could ask this to the panel later on tonight. Was orders from up above telling Cifuentes, no, can we go back to this style of football because we want to be in line with modern football. We don't want that football played. We need to be in modern football. Because it just feels odd that two managers have sort of done similar things and lasted similar periods of time.
I asked the question, did we play this style of football when we won the Premier League?
Well, that's my point, but football itself has evolved, hasn't it, Chris? So maybe the ownership is thinking, no, I think
that's why he got the job, definitely. But I don't think they should be interfering, but who knows? Dworski says there, Dean Smith and Fuchs are my preferred manager team. I mean, look, we love Christian Fuchs, but what has he done that ever has proved that he's going to be a good manager? He was purely a number 2 to Dean Smith at Charlotte in the US. He's managing a team that, all right, it's not bottom anymore, but it's still 23rd in the league, and is a manager that the team that he manages don't want. They want him gone, because we've got a friend who's a Newport fan. I would say Dean Smith, I understand that, but let's get hi Helen. Let's get Dean Smith and John Terry together, because they weren't a bad match up. But look, we'll see that's for different shows on different times. Here is the match day squad, everybody. What did you think when you saw this, Brad?
Confusion. I couldn't understand why he was playing 3 centre backs, and one of them was at left back. I actually feel that Stolarczyk needs to be taken out of the limelight, because Asmir Begovic did nothing wrong when he covered for an injury, and I think something's plaguing his mind, because he's somehow still making errors on things. When he does them right, they still end up leading to us either conceding or conceding a set piece, like a throw-in or a corner. I looked at that and thought, okay, so what is he putting Hamza in the midfield? Is he changing it to a 3-5-2? What's he really doing here? Then I realised, no, it's a 4-2-2-3-1, and it was like, what? Why? To me, I was like I said, I was watching it with my partner, and I turned around and I went, well, that's just done then. That's him done. He's gave up. He doesn't feel a need to change anything, because what's the point? Even if I win or we get a draw, I'm probably gone. That to me said, live by the sword, die by the sword. Because as soon as I realised he wasn't changing his back line and that, I was like, wow. Bloke's got 4 goals up front, and four of them are from Fatawu, and maybe 5 if IU's got 1. And that's what we're going with as our front line 3 with obviously Mavadidi. Maybe he's got 1 as well, I don't know. But I was like, we're not trying anything. We're not even going to consider Jake Evans. We're not even going to consider 2 up front. You're just going to do the same basic crap. And that was it. That's when I was fully in the, please let this be the last game he's in charge. I almost, Chris, didn't want us to win. And that sounds horrible and bizarre to say, but there was actually a part of me that actually thought, maybe we lose this and it's done. I don't want Leicester to lose. I'll never do, but that's where my head was when I saw this.
I asked the question, actually, and I said, is it wrong that I'm even thinking about wanting us to lose so that Marti gets sacked? That's how my mind was working. Look, I said to you earlier, I kind of understand the Nelson thing. I mean, I would go 3 at the back. I'd even be tempted at 4-4-2, but we haven't got enough, defenders. If that was a 3 at the back and we've dropped Ricardo, that would be my 3. Okoli, Vestergaard, and Nelson, because I think that's the best 3. But he was never gonna play that. I did a show the other day, and I was looking at this. Was talking about Marti being asked to leave, and I actually did a thing. And look, he can't predict injuries. You're going to have to change like for like. Yeah. Now, I don't think like-for-like substitutions work unless, A, like I say, it's an injury, or B, after about 15, 20 minutes, you realise that somebody is getting absolutely roasted and you need a better player in that position. Other than that, your substitution should be to try and change the game. And the only way you're going to change the game, to a degree, is by changing formation. Now, 90%, and I went all the way back to every single game in January, over 90% of his substitutions were like for like. No fucking wonder where we are.
Yeah, and I wonder if managers before him and Marti was worried about trying to fit all of his eggs in one basket. And what I mean by that, Chris, is if we go 3 at the back, then Luke Thomas doesn't play. Good. Luco doesn't play. Oh, Ricardo doesn't play. Well, actually, there's a world where Ricardo does play, and I will say that you play a 3-4-1-2 because people are thinking, what about Fatu? What about Mavdidi? Well, the solution's staring them in the face. You see, I think Marti was so worried about having to have a flat 4 and a flat midfield makeshift 4, if you will, to have wingers out there, that he played a formation that he felt was very safe in making sure everybody had happy faces and happy hats on. Realistically, Chris, Vestergaard, Nelson, and Nicola, your back 3. Your midfield, you can go here with Ricardo on the right. You can go with Silko Thomas on the left, or whatever you want to do. But let's just keep it. Let's say we're not playing positions in right things, midfield positions, right? Let's say you're keeping it simple as it is. Then you have Silko Thomas on the right. You have, I'm going to say, Mavadidi on the left.
Mm-hmm.
You have Oliver Skip in that middle, and until James or someone else is until James is fit, which won't be till March, you're probably playing someone like Hamza in there, or you could put Ricardo in there.
Oh no!
Right? No, I know, but I'm throwing out desperado options because obviously that's all we've got. But let's go with midfielders that are genuine midfielders. So you're playing Hamza in that role. Right, so there's your 4 in the midfield.
Let's look. Let's get back to this game. Sorry, Brad. I'm just thinking of the time, so I just want to sort of concentrate on this game. And tonight as well, I got approached by Capital Radio, and I did a bit for them, and they were asking me certain questions. We'll go through that later on tonight as well. Look, I know some of that wasn't his fault. We didn't have Skip and we didn't have James. And it maybe proves how reliant on those two we are. So I get, again, Chowdhury in there. And Louis Page. But
Page.
Chowdhury, all right, this time it wasn't a like for like because he put Pats and Daka on. I think if he'd had 10 up front, I don't think we would have scored. Why bring Samari on with 90 minutes played? What? You're bringing on a defensive fucking midfielder, 2-1 down at 90 minutes. Why? And you swapped. Here we go. We swapped Ben Nelson for Luke Thomas. Why? Again, it's like for like. You're playing a player who's replaced the sub that's coming on because he's better, being taken off. All right, yes, he got the assist, I know, but let's be honest with you. You're replacing, your Rolls Royce with your Mini Cooper. I just don't get the guy's logic. I really, really don't. And then you look at our strikers. We've got Ayew and we've got Daka. Fucking hell, they couldn't score in a brothel if it was a wank-off. Do you know what I mean? There's just no... And yet, we've got a decent striker that, we're going to let him go out on loan for the rest of the season. Why? We haven't got enough bloody choices ourselves, but... it just makes me so annoyed. It makes me so annoyed. I mean, we're not going to do the ratings later on, but let me ask you, who was your man of the match? And you have to pick one.
I'm going to avoid the obvious one because he's the only one that has a thing on his name, which is Fatu. I'm actually going to go Louis Page. Now,
funny you should say that because Alan, who does our official man of the match, he goes to the games and he votes it afterwards. He went Page as well. But I'm going to turn the page back. Hey, see what I did there? And my man of the match, and then I've got to say, Tom, Jim, and Wayne all agreed with me. I actually went for Vestergaard.
Insert Love Child music here.
No, I think he had a pretty decent game.
In what sense?
I think he distributed the game. Well, I mean, what did Page contribute?
Well, he worked in the middle, so he weren't at fault for either of the goals.
Well, was his role not like defensive midfielder? He was one of our two defensive midfielders.
He was a midfielder. He was played out of position, Chris. So he's a midfielder. He's not a defensive midfielder.
Scott says that I'll just let Brad finish texting, and then we can get back to the show.
Oh, well, I was trying to do something for you for later on, but I'll send it afterwards.
No problem, mate. All right, yeah, I think he did all right. He should be the captain, to be honest with you. I'd have him over Ricardo every day.
I will give you that. I will say that, but I don't think he was man of the match.
I think he did all right. I think he's being asked to play out of position by going so high up.
True.
You know, because you can't have Vestergaard and play that high up. And that's why if you've got three at the back, for me, you have Vestergaard in that central sweeper position almost, if you like, so that when the other two go up, we get, we have him there back, already to sort of do his bit.
And if you played three at the back, you could do that.
Yeah. I mean, look, let's have a look at this. Don't start. Let's have a look at the stats. I know you're not a lover of stats, but look at this. I mean, would you look at that and say, wow, well, the bottom team won?
No, you really wouldn't. You'd look at that and think, God, my God, that team in yellow have absolutely robbed them. And that must be top of the league that have just lost this game. How's that happened?
I mean, I've never seen a Leicester. That must be Jess. I think it must be Jess. That must be Leicester that have had the most momentum, if you like, and still lost the game. I mean, that is embarrassing. And when we have a look at the stats here, I mean, you look at this and you think, how did we lose it? We had 76.9% possession. It wasn't even a Brexit vote, was it?
No, it wasn't, but it just shows you that possession and all them stats mean nothing, because we did a hell of a lot less than they did with the ball. They only had 25% of it, and they did 10 times more with it than we did.
I mean, the XG there, 0.59 for us, 1.94 for Oxford. We had 13 shots to their 8. They had 2 shots on target. And what did they do with those 2 shots on target?
Bang, bang.
Yeah. That's the song. You're going to burst into song, are you? We actually had more touches in the opposition box, which will surprise you with my next slide. But we had 16 touches in their box compared to 11. Stolarczyk never made a save. Now look, you're in the goalkeepers union, aren't you? And you kind of hid. We kind of hinted before that you would bring Bekovic back, as I've said for the last 2 matches. So we're in agreement with something. How much to blame? And you can't blame him for the second goal. You cannot blame him for the second goal at all. But how much of the first goal does he take responsibility for?
He has to take a fair chunk of the responsibility, because I don't know what's happened to him since that injury. Because before that injury, Chris, yes, he wasn't always getting too firm hands on the ball or holding it from crosses, but he was coming out, commanding the area and putting a glove on it. All right, sometimes he was quite unfortunate. He punched it more into danger than away, but he was getting it clear from the box. For the last 5 or 6 games, Chris, it's like he's scared to leave his line. And I just don't understand why. Whereas when Begovic was in goal, commanded the area, commanded it, claimed it, and if he didn't get it, right, I'll get the next one. Didn't bother him. I think there's a frail, fragile mentality with these players that if it goes wrong and it's on them, they're going to get absolutely crucified. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a social media thing. If that's how I care, if that's the case, have a blackout.
Yeah.
Don't go on your phone for 48 hours on social media.
This team, to me, looked like, well, two things. They looked like headless chickens, because even when they had the ball, they didn't know what to do with it, and they were running around, and I think all sort of formations went out the window. But B, it looked a team that is totally devoid of confidence.
It is definitely that, Chris. It is definitely shot to pieces in terms of confidence because it just seemed to have zero cohesion. I mean, I saw them at some points, Chris. A player would get the ball, he'd have a boxer player behind him, he's back to his team, and he's just flicking it around the corner into a space. And then wondering why there's a yellow shirt doing, running, flying down the middle of the pitch with the ball. Well, it's because you've passed it without knowing who's there, mate. Where's the cohesion? Under hit passes or 5-yard passes that are, if they're any harder, they've done a John Arnold Reeser and broke the leg they were hitting that hard to them. It is so bizarre and just bad at how it goes about doing things.
This question was asked, I think it was Clibbo said, has Marti improved any of our players? I would say, if anything, we've actually gone back because Monger's not looking like anything like the player he was before. I don't think there's any player there that he has improved, apart from Skip maybe, but maybe that Skip was always there. And as I said before, it was he just needed Winks to be dropped for him to come out of his shell.
Yeah, because you can't even say, "Oh, well, Page and that is improved," because they're youngsters. That's natural of what they're going to do. If they're good enough, they're going to naturally improve game on, and that's why I kind of picked Lewis Page, because out of all the failed and tried and failed youngsters that he's ever go to, the only one that's ever been really consistent, apart from Bobby Nelson, who's a bit older, so I give more leeway that way as well, is Lewis Page. But everybody else, Chris, it seems like they've gone back 5 steps. I mean, where's that fearless Mavididi? I'll tell you where he is. He's getting halfway down his stride, into his stride to burst down the left and then cutting, Chris. And then it's like his brain goes, oh, yeah, the manager doesn't want me to do this, so I'm going to stand on the ball, do my little jinkies with my knees on the ball, and then pass it all the way back to Luke Thomas, who will be picking his nose and not realise he's in a game of football and miss the ball.
When you see the Cheltenham game, where there was a lot of youngsters in there, that was probably the best game I've seen this season for actually passing to each other, because they knew each other.
Yeah.
Together in the youth team, and I was choosing my words very carefully there. Together in the youth team, and they seemed to know where the player that was going to pass to, where he would be. Where this lot have just got nothing. Like I say, let's get some of the teams in. I mean, well, you probably don't because you're younger than me, but the great Liverpool teams of pre Alex Ferguson at Manchester United, most of their training was 5-a-sides, literally just to get used to passing the ball to each other and making runs and what have you. They did very little actual tactical training. It was either 5-a-sides or 11-a-sides. And you're thinking like, wow. Because everybody says, what have this lot been doing on the pitch? Because on the training ground, Ruud van Nistelrooy always said, oh, they were so good at it on the training ground. I don't give a fucking shit what they do on the training ground. I'm more bothered about what they do, in at the KP or the other stadium. But I want to show you this now because this did excite me a little bit. Do you want to see a heat map, Brad?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Well, there's 2 heat maps on here. One is for Leicester and one is for Oxford. Now, remember the score, which is there to our whatever way you're looking at it, to our left, I guess. Leicester City 1, Oxford United 2. There are the heat maps. How can you have that much possession and still lose. I mean, Oxford, there is some dark blue there. You can't really see it, but there is. I don't know why they decide to do it as a blue, because it doesn't show up against the grey background. So Oxford were sort of in other places other than the green, but look at that. I mean, according to that, we dominated. And it is a case of what you do with the ball. And what you do with the ball surely is down to the manager.
It is, and there's a simple explanation as to why Leicester looked dominant but did fuck all with the ball. Firstly, we'll get to the obvious one. See them orange patches on there? They're not giant baked beans, although they could be mistaken for it with our players, people. What they are is sideways and backwards everywhere we go. Sideways and backwards everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. That's what that is, right? It comes with its own tune, 99p on Spotify. And the other reason we've got such a big circumference area of that blockade compared to Oxford, something you literally said very early on in the stream, Chris, and that is, you want to play tippy-tappy football, go on then. That's all Oxford did. That's all Oxford did for about 90 minutes. Oh, not all Oxford did, obviously. They did a bit more than that, and I need to remember that I've got this very small table when I go to sit like this on. There's an earthquake happening every 5. Yeah, church. And that is, Chris, they literally just went, should we just let them have the ball? Because eventually going to fuck up a pass is Leicester. We watched Leicester. We watched 4 games and we've got enough information to tell you that they'll fuck it up themselves if we don't force it on them. So, you know what I mean?
On the Leicester heat map, can you see there's a big gap just to the right of it?
Yeah.
Where their goal area is.
Oh, yeah, that big thing that we've got an allergic reaction to.
Yes, that's the one. Now, I'm going to highlight even more because our main striker is what number?
Oh, you said main striker. I'm trying to calculate the goals they've scored. It's either 20.
No. But in the formation we play.
In accordance to that, our main striker should be central in that box, and he should be.
Also, what number should they be?
Number 9.
Number 9. Thank you. God, it was like pulling blood. That. Who's our number 9?
Some old geezer called Are You?
Do you want to see his heat map?
Has he got one?
Yes, he has.
Are you sure?
This is our main striker's heat map. And I'll tell you what as well, this, I have changed the colours to make it easier to understand.
Can someone tell me why our number 9 is not in a number 9?
Well, can I just say that if you see a bit of a blue patch very much near the goal line, that's him defending. That's not him attacking, because as you can see from the arrow, we are going that way, and yet he's hardly in their box. But he's in his box enough to register a heat. And what's he doing on the fucking left-hand side so much?
That's what I was wondering, Chris. For a striker, have you accidentally brought up Mavropanos, Matt?
No. I promise you that he had 105 touches, and I took everybody off and just left because obviously this one is everybody. That's 15 players or whatever. This is just Jordan Ayew. I mean, what? Now
that sounded like an advert for him, didn't it? This is Jordan Ayew.
Yes, this is the comment of the night. That's where he fell down the most. I mean, that's what he does, and that's what the Palace fan told me he would do when we signed him. And there is times when you need that. In the last 10 minutes, if you're holding on or you're looking for that extra win, yeah, he'll go down, he'll break play up, he'll give you, the team a rest if you're winning. If you're losing, he'll go down, get you a free kick. If only we had a decent free kick taker, which isn't this guy as well, I'm going to say. But that is like, and again, is it his fault or is he being told to do that? And when you get a breakaway, you need somebody up there that's fast. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Though you need a Vardy. If Daka could actually know where the net was, you want a Daka in there. But we haven't got anybody that is fast and actually can score the odd goal or two.
No, I mean the odd goal or two would be a fast improvement if IU could manage that. But no, you're right, Chris, and it doesn't help. The thing is, I feel like Jordan Ayew studied Jamie Vardy and saw that he ran that line left to right, left to right. He would prowl for the ball. If Leicester were attacking down the left, he'd get himself over the left. But I think the vital part that he missed from the training at school of Jamie Vardy is Jamie Vardy would drag that defender all the way over to the left on him, and as soon as Kante or Mahrez got the ball, or Albrighton, to be more accurate with the side he was playing on, got that ball, Jamie Vardy was behind that defender and cutting back into the middle to get the ball played through to him to latch on and score. I just forgot that part of the Jamie Vardy tutorial. Maybe they edited it out of his DVD for him to watch, because he's getting himself in the position when we attack more down that left. He's just not doing that last part, which would make that box nice and blue. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, mate.
No, I don't either. And then I think those two maps sort of showed up totally why we're in the shit mess we are. And I think, look, there's a lot of problems with the players. I'm just going to read one of the questions that I got asked earlier. If I can find them, because I was asked by, she's going to send me the clip through, so hopefully I can find it. Where is she, Charlotte? There we go. One of her questions was, how there we go. How a new manager can impress fans, get spirits up again. Now, the obvious answer is start winning, but he needs to put square pegs in square holes. And if the older players, more experienced players aren't any good, then don't bother with them. Put other youngsters in. Why bring Sumare on? He's going at the end of the season. We know he's shit. So why was he brought on? Because I tell you something, mate. Hopefully now we've got Andy King in for a bit. Hopefully he'll look at it and go, right, I want to play the youngsters like I did pre-season. They've got however many games left till the end of the season to bed in and get used to it, because you can't not pick them. And then week one of the new season, they aren't going to put all the youngsters in, whether that's Andy King or a new manager by then, because they're not going to be ready for it.
It's something we screamed out for, and something we actually thought Cifuentes would do, or at least do a lot more actively than what he ended up doing. So yeah, Chris, I would be all for it if come 11:30 or whenever they announce the team on the Saturday, because it's 12:30 kickoff. Right, just thought I'd advertise that for the watch along. Get here at about.
I hate that. I work till 10. Fucking hell, Sky, you're a bunch of wankers.
Yeah, well, just order a breakfast takeaway and do it on the toilet, because both will be shit. It's either way. But but give the fans that. There's that cliche that's thrown around, the terminology that usually comes when you're an interim manager. And apart from that Seal duo clapper that came in and managed them 2 games for Brendan, we have seen it before. And then just let the lad play with a bit of freedom. Don't be so rigid in where you've got to go. Don't be so rigid in your movements. Play with a bit of freedom. If you think you can take that guy on instead of passing it 5 yards, take him on. If you feel you can take a shot and score, that sort of freedom needs to be installed into it, Chris, along with maybe seeing Monga play, maybe seeing changing formation, a different style of play. Because if we see a different style of play and a different attitude, even if we're unlucky and draw against Charlton, Chris, we could come away from that game going, Oh, gutted we drew, but my God, was that so much better than what we've been used to seeing.
Yeah.
You get the fans on side. Sorry,
Yeah,
go on.
just to round this up, because I'm looking at the time. I know you've got to go now, haven't you? So I'm just going to say, how many shots do you think that Jordan Ayew had as our number 9?
0?
No, we had 1.
Ah, okay.
Don't knock him down. He was on target as well. It was on target.
He took the free kick, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a shit free kick, wasn't it? Patson Daka came on in the 67th minute. How many shots do you think he had?
It's either the answer I just gave or the answer you just read out. 0. 2?
Yes.
He's starting every week. Come on, he came on.
I know. But, he at least had 2 shots. I know what you're saying. Only 1 was on target. I'm going to unfortunately have to say that one. But look, and he won an aerial duel as well. But then again, so did Jordan Ayew. Very, very last point. What would you give the team rating?
2.
2? That's fucking generous of you, mate. Because Alan agreed with me, because I'd written mine down. Then Alan's came in on the messenger, and then Tom, Jim, and Wayne, we all agreed, and they got 1 for turning up.
Yeah, I feel like I've just been nice to them. Like sticking with me 2.
It would be interesting, Nate, to see if when Andy King comes in, if he does play 2 up front, and then Daka might have a use. I don't know, but like you say, we will find out. Brad, I appreciate you got to go, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. There won't be one of these next week because I'm on holiday.
Yeah, so buggers off. We might actually start winning again. Every time you go away, we seem to do all right. You go, oh, can I just say, Chris, I'm going to give Marti a 10 because he did the right thing to get himself sacked.
That is true. You can't argue with that. Thanks to the mods. Thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. Really appreciate it. And I have to say, I'll let you go, Brad, but thank you very much.
No worries. Take care, everybody.
Cheers. Thanks very much to Brad there. Like I say, I do know I think he's on a promise, to be honest with you. I think that's what it might be. I just need to try and find the correct setting for this now, which I can't at the moment. See, does that one work? Not really, does it? Unfortunately, StreamYard is messing me about because I want to say we've actually got 2... there we go. Here we go. That's the way to do it. There we go. That will be fine. So we've got a couple of shows coming up that I just want to tell you about. Oh my God, I hate StreamYard so much sometimes. So we've got a couple of shows coming up. One of those is at 9 o'clock, so in about 54 minutes. And we'll be doing this. Why Marti had to go. And then that's tonight at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow at 7, we will be doing What and Who Next for Leicester. So a couple of shows coming up there that could well be of interest to you. I'm going to leave you. I will see you in, let's say, 50-odd minutes. Thanks very much to everybody. And remember, if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, thanks for lending us your ears. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you at 9. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.